Hello there, I'm Ani, a self-care coach who's all about helping busy, people-pleasing moms release the do-it-all, be-it-all mentality. Let's talk about how you can know yourself, love yourself, and be yourself in all the hats that you wear these days. So today we are talking about the keys to leaning into your support system. And something that we all struggle with, well, most of the people in my Moms Without Capes group, and is, because we are heavy like people pleasing and we have a hard time just letting go and taking care of ourselves, one of the things we struggle with is asking for help, because that requires us to take off our Superwoman cape, be a little vulnerable and admit that we need help. And sometimes we may not even need it because we are fully capable of doing it ourselves, but it really sure does help. We all have support systems. I'm assuming we all have families here. We all have, people that we can depend on, but whether we allow ourselves to depend on them is a whole different story. And so it's important to have a support system, one, because we're built to be social, right? Like that's social self-care right there. We're built to make connections and to interconnect with one another. And I know I talked to a few of you this morning and told you that this word, my word for 2021 is connect. Not just, especially as it applies to all of you, me connecting with you, but also connecting with one another, like forming and allowing a safe place for you to make connections with others. And so connect's my word. So I'm all about the social support that we're talking about today. Who should you include in the support system? So I already said, your spouse, or maybe your parents or siblings or even children. All of these people that you have relationships with, this is your support system. And it is so hard to ask for help because we like to do things for everyone else, right? We've been taught to self-sacrifice and to put our own needs last and all of that stuff that I talk about all the time. So, doing something differently is difficult. It's difficult to take that role of needing help or wanting help when we're used to being the helper in the relationships. So all of the people, this could include neighbors, friends. Let me know, Holly, since you're watching, and who are some people that are in your support system that maybe I'm not mentioning or that are in your specific support system? This could be even like medical professionals, like your counselor, if you're doing therapy, all of those people that are there that you have relationships with, that you're connected with. I know there's a little pause between me saying it, and Holly may have gotten a little busy. I know we're a lot of multitaskers in here too. So, well, let me know if you, even if you're watching the replay, let's talk about who is in your support system. Start identifying those people. And then let's talk about what each one, right? Because there's certain people in your support system, church leaders, okay, yes, would be in your support system for sure. So there's certain people that you're only going to ask certain things of, that you'd only feel comfortable asking things of, or that you know that they're competent of, right? Like you wouldn't ask your church leader probably to babysit your children, right? Well, I don't know what relationship you have with your church leaders or the people in your church, but chances are, right, you're going to depend on them, or you would be more willing to ask them help of particular, like specific tasks. And so you want to know, not only identify who is in your support system, but what each one would help you with or be willing to help you with. And so that's kind of like the first step, is to identify who and what each person would be willing to, or that you think they would be willing to help you with. What are their own gifts and talents and skills that would be able to be useful to you? And one thing I want you to keep in mind is shifting that perspective, right? Like we're all helpers here. Well, most of us are helpers, and we are usually the one on the giving end. And so to turn that around and say, like, would you mind if somebody asked you to do something, which I'm sure they do, but if they were to ask you, like, what are your feelings on that? And the chances are they would feel the same way. They would be receptive of that. You're giving them that opportunity to serve, which is amazing, right? When you think about that, when you shift that perspective, you're seeing it from a whole different angle and seeing like it's, and that can help you feel okay or more comfortable with actually asking for help. So step number one, I said we were going to talk about the 3 keys of leaning into your support system. Step 1, I've got my notes in front of me, is to recognize that it is okay to ask for help. Many of us wear our Superwoman cape like a badge of honor. We hold on to that tight and we are afraid to let it go. And this is where you have to dig a little deeper and see what is your resistance? Where is that resistance and what is keeping you? Because everything, it all starts in the mind. Last night, I met with some of the members. We did a coaching call for my Self-Care Goals Club. And one of the members has been really digging deep into her mindset. And she was first working on, kind of building some habits, like some physical habit, some habits that would work on her physical health, like getting on the treadmill or tracking her water intake, like things that had to do with her physical health. But now it's clicking. Now she's realizing that it doesn't start with that. Like, it starts with the mind and digging deeper and overcoming those roadblocks that are happening right inside here. Not getting on the treadmill, not tracking your food, not doing all of those things that are going to help your physical health. It really is mind over matter. And recognizing what are those mental roadblocks that are keeping you from asking for help. And these are probably some of those expectations that we talked about last week that are keeping you, that are stopping you and preventing you from actually asking for help. So first you've got to do that mental work. And then key number 2, identify what you could use or what you would like to have help with. And this kind of goes back to, right, you can start making those connections with who would be willing and capable of providing that help for you. But first you have to identify what it is that you need, right? If you don't know what you need, nobody else, you can't expect anybody else to know what you need. And so you really need to say, start looking at those tasks that you do every day. In my course, the time creation course, this is one of the first steps that we go through, is identifying what you do every day. What is using your time? But it really starts with that. It starts with, even though it's my second key, it starts with that, seeing what, of all of the things that you do, what can you delegate? What can you use help with? What things absolutely have to be done with, by you? But there are going to be, I guarantee, things on that list that you can delegate. And not only can you delegate, but you're going to delegate it to things, to people that are skilled in those things and actually enjoy doing those things. So those tasks that are in your drudgery zone. When we deny others to help us, we deny giving them blessing. It's like baking cookies and throwing them away instead of asking if someone else wants some. So yes, Holly, that is so true. You're denying that support system. You're denying those other people a blessing and that opportunity to help you or to help somebody. So, right, that's that shifting that perspective. And I like that metaphor. You're throwing them all away instead of just asking if somebody else wants them. And so when you look at your tasks, you're going to really narrow it down. What are those tasks that you can delegate? And then go look at your support system and be like, who would be really good at this? Who would be willing and excel in doing it? And it's probably, one person's trash is another person's treasure. Same thing. Something that you really don't want to do. And remember a couple of weeks ago, if you're in my Moms Without Capes group, I asked the thing, laundry or dishes. And there was such a mixture. And something that you might not enjoy doing, somebody else might not mind it at all. Same thing with that. Same thing applies here with your support system. Just because you don't like doing it, or it's at the bottom of your chores that you would like to do list, doesn't mean somebody else wouldn't care picking it up and giving you that hand or giving you that cookie. So yeah, so key number 2 is identify what you could use or need help with. Finally, key number 3, learn how to communicate and ask for help. This is where, and I've talked about this before, and I think I might actually do some kind of workshop with this or something in the future, because this is huge. This is something that I work a lot with my counseling clients as well. And it is learning how to ask for help. Like, first identify your needs, what you need help with, how is it making you feel, and then being specific and communicating how that other person can help you. So that may be using I statements, learning how to identify like your feelings and different words, and using that, learning the vocabulary that goes with asking for help. So there you go. You had the three keys for leaning into your support system. 1, recognize that it's okay to ask for help. Number 2, identify what you could use or what you need help with. And number 3, learn how to communicate and ask for help. So those are your 3 keys for leaning into your support system. So before we leave, I want to, here's one thing. One thing I want to add is practice, right? The first time you ask for help, it's going to be a lot uncomfortable, because if it's something that you struggle with, it's something that is going to be hard for you. You want to be able to, it's going to take some time before you become more comfortable asking for help. And then it'll get easier. I promise it'll get easier. But practicing it, write it down, right? Write down, after you've gone through the 3 keys, after you've identified what it is that you need help with, who it is that you're going to ask help for, then write it down. Like, write out what you want to say to that person and kind of hash it out on paper. Then practice saying it out loud. Maybe say it a few times until you have it memorized, and then you can kind of make it your own voice and become more and more comfortable saying it, so that when you do finally approach that person, you've already kind of mastered what you want to say. So just like anything, practice it, writing down, give yourself that little pep talk, take some deep breaths, all of that good stuff to help you prepare. Hold on one second. Guys, you need to close the refrigerator. Okay, got some beeping going on. Okay. So all of that good stuff to help you get ready to do something huge. Because asking for help is huge, especially if you've never done it before. But it will be a game changer, I promise. All right, so before I sign off for today, I want to tell you about, right now, my doors are open for the Self-Care Goals Club. This is an exclusive membership for moms who are really intentional about building habits and making self-care a regular practice. Right now, I just started the group 2 months ago. So it's a very intimate group. We meet twice a week. Some folks go, it's all women, it's all moms, different seasons of life, but we're all moms. In fact, I have 4 members right now, and all 4 of them are in a different season of motherhood. But we do have the common thread where we struggle with self-care. So that's why I formed the group. And so we do weekly group coaching calls twice a week. And then I do resources and tools and trackers and a mini training, and our mini training for April, which will be happening this Monday and Thursday, because those are the days we meet. Not our first one. This is going to be like our 3rd or 4th one, but it's all about shifting the self-talk, right? Like the negative self-talk that we so often engage in, how to shift that. And so that's going to be our training. So the doors are open only until April 11th, and they won't open again until June. But up until then, I will put the link in the comment section. If you are interested in joining this exclusive club, I really encourage it. It's a low monthly fee, no commitments, no contracts, none of that. But the women who are currently in there, they're making huge steps. Right? We take small steps, but they're making huge steps in order to improve their life and really step into who they are meant to be and who they want to be. So that is, go ahead and I will put the link to that in the comments. And join me next Friday for another weekly Friday Facebook Live where we will be talking about productivity versus busyness and what's the difference and how can you tell if you're too busy, all of those signs, all of the things that have to do with that. That's what I'll be talking about next week, same time, next Friday.